hour. Beauty and the Bester will go ahead. Let's get you some analysis on the story now and bring in Elton Hart, who is a legal analyst. Elton, it's great to talk to you. You were obviously listening to the court judgment as well. That's really the essence of what Judge Pottrell had to say, right? You cannot come to us hours before on an urgent basis.
Yes, indeed. So if you create urgency by yourself, then the court obviously is not going to entertain your application, because here, as you alluded to earlier, they had sight of this trailers from 20 August. Why not approach the court back then already to actually seek the necessary relief that you're seeking? And the court was clear that there is substantive relief that's available to them if they feel that they are prejudiced or harmed by any of the material that will be flighted by the media house or the media platform. So they actually created this urgency by themselves to wait until the very last minute before it is aired to actually approach court.
Self-created urgency is just not enough, says Judge Pottrell. So it's very interesting, Elton, when I take a look at some of the arguments that were being made in court yesterday from particularly Thabo Bester's lawyer. He focused a lot on the issue of defamation, saying that his client's reputation is on the line. Tembeka Ncukaitobi, who was arguing on behalf of Netflix, said he is a convicted rapist and murderer, and defamation is not on the table.
Now, obviously, one needs to look at defamation in this way. Defamation can only be defamation if it's not true and it's made available to the public. Now, the mere fact that we know already from previous court judgments, court orders that says he was convicted of rape, he was convicted of murder. So a court took a ruling, a decision that he hasn't challenged up until now to say that you are convicted of X, Y, and Z. So that is a fact. You are convicted of such a thing, and then obviously people will have that information to their available to them, and it's out in the public domain. It's on court records, it's in court documents. So it's there, it's out in the public domain. So it's not something new that's coming to the public domain. So for him to actually go after saying that it's defamation of his character, you've been convicted and you did not have a problem to actually appeal your convictions up until now or make it. That's what's in the public domain. You cannot see it as defamation. It falls short. And then I also know that he went into the fair trial rights of his client. His client will be prejudiced by the airing of this Netflix documentary, if one used the words loosely. But I mean, there were certain things that Advocate Ncukaitobi highlighted to say, but you were found in Tanzania. You were sentenced to life imprisonment, so you were not supposed to be out because there's no record that you've been released. So then it will amount to an escape. So how can you say that these things that's in the public domain, that the public has knowledge of, will actually affect your trial? Obviously, you can argue at your trial, whatever you're going to argue, but I think their arguments fell a little bit short, and it was like it lacked substance for me.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like trying to censor journalists who are reporting on the story of Thabo Bester. All of this information is in the public domain. That's something that Judge Pottrell had to say now in her decision as well. His lawyer had raised concerns about his right to a fair trial, his right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. But the judge saying that there is no judge that will be impacted by this documentary or anything else that's out in the media. Judges weigh the evidence at hand and the arguments in court.
No, indeed. So obviously judges hold a high regard for what they put in their judgments, and of course obviously they know their judgments will go out into the public domain. There's people that will actually peruse these judgments and actually scrutinize to see if the judge's judgment was good in law or not. So they would make 100% sure, and obviously they know that even there's certain amounts of evidence that will come to a court, but a judge then needs to exclude it based on the admissibility requirements not being met. So although the judge knows that this information is there, they know how they are trained to actually sort of say, this is admissible, this is inadmissible. So whatever comes from the as we call them, the court of public opinion, the judges will sort of half stay away from that. It's like, I'm not saying judges live in isolation, but they will tend to focus on what does the law allow me within the parameters of the law to say, this is just, this is equitable, and this is in line with the evidence that was presented that was admissible before me or before him or her.
So Elton, do you think that if both these applicants had approached the court on the 20th of August, which is when the trailer for this documentary first aired, do you think that that would have changed the way this outcome eventually happened? It doesn't sound like that to me, purely on the basis that so much of their argument was about right to a fair trial, being presumed innocent until proven guilty. Thabo Bester's lawyer also arguing that he was not involved and they did not have his consent to go ahead with a production of this nature. So if they had gone on the 20th when the trailer was aired, it doesn't sound like there would have been a different outcome.
When one looks at on the urgency basis, they might have had maybe some grounds on urgency to say we're approaching the court urgently to get an interdict. They might have gotten past part 1 or part A in the application, but on the substance to say they want to interdict Netflix from actually airing this documentary, I don't think they would have been successful because, as we said earlier, the information is already out in the public domain. So
Elton,
that would have made the case a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but thanks very much for joining us on our breaking news story this hour. Beauty and the Bester will air. In fact, it airs from 9 o'clock this morning. Both Thabo Bester and Nandipha Magudumana losing their bid for an urgent interdict to stop the flighting of that documentary with costs.